With the 2024-25 season now complete, Tottenham have a massive summer ahead in the transfer window. And after their Europa League success and seeing themselves qualify for the Champions League, it is a make or break summer for Daniel Levy and the Tottenham Hotspur board in general. They must pull their finger out and spend the money to make this side continue its success. Europa League glory was fantastic, but we want more. We want consistency in the Premier League and we want a squad that can compete on all fronts. So today on the St. Spurs YouTube channel, I'm going to be picking the perfect signings for Tottenham to sign this summer. But before we go any further, if you are new to the St. Spurs YouTube channel, please leave a like, subscribe, and also hit the notification bell because it'll let you know when it goes live. And also, around 80% of you watching this right now are not subscribed to the channel, so get down below, you know what to do. So yeah, it's a monumental summer for Tottenham Hotspur, and there's key areas that Daniel Levy and the board need to address going into next year's campaign. We're at quite a beginning stage of the summer transfer window. A lot of teams are already making some moves here, there and everywhere. And Tottenham at the moment, it's all quiet on the Western Front. Not many transfer rumours, not much going on. So what I've done is I've gone out my way and picked 5 players that Tottenham should be targeting, if not signing this summer. I think there's 5 key areas. I think we need a backup fullback who can be quite versatile. I think we need a number 6 to play in that midfield. I think we need another creator, like a 10 who can also maybe play on the wing as well. I think we also need a winger. I think that is very important as well. Some really key areas that we have to address. And also a centre-back, depending on the future of one of our players. But without further ado, let's get into the players. And I'm going to start actually with a bonus player, an honourable mention. Now, I'd like to see this deal happen because his future looks uncertain, but I'm not sure where his future could be. And that is Xavi Simons of RB Leipzig. Obviously made the move permanent from PSG to Leipzig earlier on this year, but it looks like his future is away from the German outfit. He had quite a good season numbers wise, but I feel like there is more potential to his game. There is, a bigger league awaiting for him. The Bundesliga is just a league that doesn't really, at those sort of middling clubs, there's not really that much success to be had because Bayern Munich dominate that league so much. But with a lot of these big clubs already, getting their attacking midfielders, the fight for Florian Wirtz, who is set to go to Liverpool, and then you also have, Musiala and, players like that already being snapped up and, being used by the big clubs around Europe. There is a gap in the market for a Xavi Simons, and I feel like, the reason I put him in the honourable mentions is because I feel like it probably won't happen. He probably will go to a bigger club than Spurs. But if we don't get one of our other targets, it should be one that Tottenham do explore. I just think the player is ultra talented, just really good. I love a Dutch player as well. And I watched him at the Euros as well against England, and he was absolutely fantastic. Just one to keep an eye on potentially for Spurs to see where his future ends up.
Yeah, for me, obviously, coming with my friends and playing with them makes it special. But going to new countries and visiting new places, visiting new academies, that was the thing that it makes really special. And of course, playing against players that you never played against, it makes it special and even more difficult to win. So that's the most beautiful thing. The most changing part was the mental part. Yeah, of course you have the physical and everything, but being mental there and being aware of that you are now with adults instead of playing with kids, that's a big gap of that. So I would say to prepare themselves in the mind and being will be really helpful. I've played a lot of tournaments, but if I have to choose one, I would say La Liga Promises in Miami I played, and was international. Every team from every country was there and we could win it, so that made it even more fun. But this one for sure.
The Wings Cup is just around the corner on the 22nd and 24th of April. What makes the tournament special and unique for you?
Yeah, it has a unique format and a unique rules that makes it special. And I think, of course, playing in a new environment and even playing with people that you don't know, that makes it even more fun. And I think it will be a really, really good tournament. I think a lot of opportunities that maybe other guys of their age don't have, being here as well in this academy, seeing everything, and of course playing with guys that you don't know from other teams, other languages. So that has to create a new environment. So that makes it special. Guys, enjoy it. Be happy that you can be here. And of course, what you said before, there are guys from other countries or the age that don't have this opportunity, and to take him with both hands, enjoy it, and of course trust the process, I would say.
So I'm going to start at the back because I feel like that is quite an obvious place to start. And I mentioned some of those key areas in my intro. I think a key area for Tottenham this summer is a backup fullback. I mean, we were linked to the likes of Kyle Walker-Peters, but it doesn't really inspire me, that one. I want a player to come in who maybe starts as a backup and then can potentially, fight his way into the first team. And I want a versatile player as well. I feel like Tottenham like signing these versatile players because they can offer a lot across the back line. We've seen Arsenal do it, Manchester City. A lot of players sign a full-back who can also play centre-back and, as I say, across that back line. And when I look at Tottenham's back line at the moment, we've got two good right backs in Pedro Porro and Jed Spence. We have a good left back in Destiny Udogie. Jed Spence can also play on the left, but I still think his future is probably on the right. Left-sided centre-back is a bit of an issue. Mickey van der Ven is obviously an amazing player, but there is potential always for him to get injured. And then, apart from that, it's Ben Davies, and, he could be leaving the club. We don't know what will happen to him, whether he signs that short-term deal or not. So, there is potential for a player to play in that position. We don't want an Archie Gray again. We want an actual, a player who is comfortable in that position. So, I picked Hincapie from Bayer Leverkusen. And I feel quite harsh picking a Leverkusen player because if you look at Leverkusen, they're getting ripped to shreds this summer. But what I've seen from him has been very promising. His numbers are really, really good as well. His defensive output is really good. He's been very involved in a successful Leverkusen team who went unbeaten in the league last year, lost one game, obviously the Europa League final, won the DFB Pokal, finished second again this year, which is quite good. I feel like there is potential for him to make the most of it in this team. And, as I said about the Bundesliga just then, maybe he's looking what might look to pastures new. He's a good age, and I feel like that versatility and uniqueness in his style would be a fantastic fit for Tottenham Hotspur. Now, the second player on my list, I mentioned, wingers. I feel like a winger is really important for Spurs. And in recent weeks, we've been linked with Leroy Sane. The future of Matthias Tell is up in the air. He can play the wing and striker. Leroy Sane, not the best of age, but I think this one speaks for himself. He's being, touted by Manchester United, Newcastle, but I think Tottenham should go in. I've seen the asking price that Brentford want for him is 50 million. So just go down and slap that on Bryan and Mbeumo. 20 Premier League goals speaks for itself. He's at such a good mature age as well. 25, I believe. And I just feel like he is the missing piece to this attack. I feel like he could provide competition on that right-hand side. I would back him to play on that left-hand side as well if he wanted to play there. Our wing situation at the moment is all over the place, but Bryan and Mbeumo, I just think he's absolutely fantastic. One of the unsung heroes from the last Premier League campaign, and that's surprising after he scored so many goals, but in that Brentford team that lost Ivan Toney, him and Visser were a dynamic duo. I just think it makes total sense to go and test Brentford. And, there was recent interviews with Norgard that he did with Sky saying that there is a possibility he is going to leave. So, get in there before Newcastle. This is the point. We've got Champions League football. We've got the pull to bring him in. And, Newcastle, as I say, they're looking for a winger. Harvey Barnes, does he replace him? Gordon or, Jacob Murphy probably. But I just feel like Bryan and Mbeumo, what a signing he would be. And I just really love the idea of it. I think, that has got to be, that's one of my big priorities. If we could get him, I think that's the start of a very good summer for Tottenham Hotspur.
And I think that's why I'm pretty calm about whatever will happen with Bryan and Wissa, because a lot of questions are asked about them, and you can almost feel the worries around the players when you talk about them maybe leaving us. And I, for once, was also one that really feared us losing Ollie Watkins, Said Benrahma,
he'll be another
Ivan Toney, and you know, so it continues. But the club is already now brought in Thiago, who hasn't played a lot this year, but another fantastic character, and he will also take the league by storm at some point. And when that is, I don't know, but I'm sure he will be ready for whenever Wissa get his dream move, or if Bryan leaves, then there will be a change of the offensive players. I just think that the club is so talented in terms of recruiting and always being 2 or 3 steps ahead.
It's the double-edged sword of being a club the size of Brentford, I suppose, isn't it? That when you perform like Bryan and Mbeumo and Johan Wissa have done this season, there are going to be bigger clubs sniffing around.
It's true, but I also think that Brentford have been really good at keeping them for more than just one season. So, when you look at Ollie, he was here for quite long. Said was here for at least minimum 3 seasons. Ivan was here for 3 seasons. It's not like that one season and then they go away. Bryan came the same time as me, so 6 years ago. Wissa, when we got promoted, so 4 years he's been here. I think that's important as well. So it's not just in and out. Like you come here, you get integrated into the team. You're a big part of what we're doing, and then you get your fully deserved move, but not straight away. You get it maybe 2, 3, 4 years further down the line. So I think that's an important thing, and whatever will happen, I think Bryan is likely to go. I don't know with Wissa yet. Everyone still hope that he might stay. Either way, I'm happy for the season they've had, both of them, because they deserve it so much.
Now, next up, this transfer is a want by me only if something else happens. So I don't think we necessarily need centre-back cover, and that's quite surprising considering the situation we saw ourselves in defensively this season. Both Romero, Mickey van de Ven getting injured, Dragason's injured, we've got Vuskovic coming in, we've got other options, youth-wise as well. But if Cristian Romero does depart the club this summer for potentially Atletico Madrid, I expect Daniel Levy to get quite a good fee for him out of, from Atletico Madrid, to then reinvest into another centre-back signing. And you might be going, Sonny, well, who do you think we should sign to replace him? Now, this player, again, has just won the FA Cup for Crystal Palace. He's been linked with a move to Newcastle United. There was bids rejected last summer from Newcastle from him, and Tottenham actually tried to potentially sign him in the January transfer window, but there wasn't much wriggle room from Palace. He's also been linked with a move back to Chelsea. He never really got the chance at Chelsea, but I think Mark Gahey would be a perfect signing to replace Cristian Romero. He's a good age, good English profile, was fantastic at the Euros. So absolutely sublime watching him in person. And I also think with Mark Gahey, he's got that versatility. He can play on the left, even though he's right-footed, so he can fill in for Mickey van de Ven as well. I just think he's very calm. He's an amazing captain. I just think it makes perfect sense, but only if we get rid of Cristian Romero. I can't see it happening that, if we keep Cristian Romero and Mickey van de Ven, what's the point of signing Mark Gahey? You might as well, spend that money elsewhere on some other transfers. But if that option is there, why not go for it?
But as a centre-half for Palace, and I've been saying it for a long time, he looks the real deal. I think I'd be amazed if he wasn't gone in the summer. He's a Champions League level player. And for me right now, he'd be in England 11.
So in which case, bearing that in mind, how negligent is it of Chelsea to allow him to leave and go to Crystal Palace? Did they not spot it?
I think it's always difficult when players are on a certain journey that doesn't align with the club. And what I mean by that is
he wanted to play.
He wanted to play every week. He was probably at Chelsea at a time where the players ahead of him were rightly ahead of him. And although you might see this potential and this emerging talent for a year or two years down the line, if he's completely unsettled and there's a value to get him gone and take the money from him and let him go, I mean, they should have put a buyback clause in of a reasonable amount, maybe.
They did put a buyback clause in with Nathan Ake, didn't they, when he went to Bournemouth?
Yeah.
But my understanding was that the hierarchy at the time thought it would be a bad look to trigger that buyback clause. And
do it again.
Re-sign somebody that they'd let go. But
it's timing, isn't it? It's a lot of timing, isn't it?
My penultimate pick is a very important position for Spurs. That 6 role. Now, we haven't had a good 6, I'd say, since Moussa Dembele, and that's going back quite a few years now. We played a different style there. We thought Basuma could be it, but he was quite good in the Europa League campaign towards the end, but he hasn't got that consistency, I don't think. And, I think he'd be open to offers. Bentancur has played there. I mean, there's rumours he'll sign a new deal, but, he's been quite inconsistent as well, like most of the side. But there's a team out there who produce a lot of amazing players, and they're able to sell them for good fees. But this side have not got a lot to play for next year. No European football for them, so that is, an issue. They did beat Spurs twice this season, but I think Brighton, the way that Brighton function is by selling a high-profile asset. I'm not sure who that is apart from Carlos Baleba, and I feel like Tottenham have to go out their way to sign Carlos Baleba. He'd be the perfect 6 in this team. He is so press-resistant, he can move the ball on, he can break the lines. He is such a good player. I've seen him absolutely outclass the likes of Manchester United, City's, Arsenal. He's just good in every game he plays. I've not seen him put a foot wrong. And especially after having players like Basuma who were unreal for Brighton and Moises Caicedo, to then have another player come off the conveyor belt of talent and be this good. Carlos Baleba has got to be signed by Spurs, and I think that would be one of my 2 priority signings. Him and the final player who I'm going to mention at the end, but I just think he's unbelievable. Get that man at Tottenham Hotspur.
Carlos, bienvenue au Brighton Hove Albion.
Thank you.
Comment tu sens aujourd'hui d'être joueur au Premier League avec nous?
Je me sens très heureux aujourd'hui d'être un joueur de Premier League et de Brighton.
D'accord. Quelque chose d'autre? Comment tu sens vraiment? C'était un rêve pour toi à jouer au Premier League?
Oui, c'était un grand rêve pour moi de jouer la Premier League.
Et comment étaient les derniers 9 mois pour vous? Parce que tu fais ton premier match pour Lille. Et depuis ce match, tu étais vraiment impressionnant, vraiment bon. Donc dis-moi, c'était comment?
Mes derniers matchs à Lille, j'ai bien aimé, ça m'a vraiment plu. Ça fait en sorte que j'ai pu montrer mes qualités, mes capacités. C'est à force de travailler que je suis là aujourd'hui.
Et c'était difficile comme un joueur jeune à jouer pour la première équipe rapidement?
Oui, c'était difficile. Mais après, avec le travail, tout va vite et ça fait progresser, ça fait avancer.
Pour le partisan au Brighton, qui peut-être vous connaît pas beaucoup, derrière, quelle qualité tu as pour l'équipe, pour aider l'équipe?
La qualité que j'ai pour aider plus l'équipe, c'est ma percussion et mon jeu combiné dans les petits espaces.
Aujourd'hui, vous avez l'opportunité à rencontrer quelques joueurs de Brighton, ton coéquipier, et aussi voir l'entraînement, les facilities en RSI. C'était comment aujourd'hui?
Aujourd'hui, ça s'est bien passé. J'ai été très content de rencontrer mes nouveaux coéquipiers. Ils m'ont bien accueilli malgré qu'ils ne sont pas encore sur le terrain et tout. Je vois qu'il y a une très bonne ambiance et elle me plaît très bien.
C'est quoi ton objectif cette année avec l'équipe, mais aussi personnellement?
Mon objectif cette année avec l'équipe, c'est d'améliorer l'équipe le plus haut possible au niveau du tableau. Et mon objectif personnel à moi, c'est de marquer mon premier but.
Et il y a un joueur au Premier League ou dans le monde qui est similaire à toi ou qui est ton role model peut-être?
Avant Mon joueur préféré, comme tu as dit, mon gros modo, c'était Paul Pogba, mais après, ce n'est plus. Là, c'est moi-même, mon joueur préféré.
And finally, now this is the player that, you know, I said about Xavi Simons, but I still think we need another creator, because I said about wingers, but if you look at it, James Maddison obviously picked up an injury, Dan Kulusevski picked up an injury. We're lacking a bit of creativity in that midfield at Spurs. And, you know, this player as well, he can also, you know, not just be creative in the midfield, he can play on the wing. He is just absolutely fantastic. I love him. We were close to signing him last summer. Well, not close, but like he was a very good option. And I feel like, you know, I mentioned Crystal Palace earlier. Again, these teams function because they can sell one high-profile asset each year. They got a really good fee for Joachim Andersen last year. They sold Michael Olise as well. I wouldn't be surprised if you could tempt Eberechi Eze out of Crystal Palace, because I just feel like he is ready for that next step. And don't get me wrong, I know he's won a trophy at Palace. I know they're going to be playing in the Europa League, but that tease of the Champions League and, you know, the way he could link up with the likes of Maddison and Kulusevski and Solanke, I feel like that's really good. I also think we're building quite a nice English core at Tottenham, so I really like the idea of bringing him in. I feel like you could get him for quite a good fee as well. I feel like, you know, the money we've got to spend, like we've got 200 million wiggle room with PSR anyway, and that's without the Champions League money. But this is a lot of if, buts and maybes. This is down to Daniel Levy also being able to pull that checkbook out and make these signs. But Eze, he would be my top signing going in to the new campaign.
Eze scored, Eberechi Eze scored the winner for Crystal Palace, it turned out. You know Eze, of course.
Yeah, man, that's my guy, man.
You played with him. Tell us, what was he like? Because you were at Wickham with him.
Yeah.
And I remember there were a lot of talk about him. Yeah. Remember a lot of talk about him. But he's gone on to achieve so much, right? The he's a talented kid. What's he like as a kid, a boy?
So as talented as he is as a footballer, he's a better human being. Right. And I know people say, I'm telling you, like, we knew. You know what? The funny thing is, we knew in training, we was like, but if QPR can let this kid go out on loan, QPR's team must be amazing. Because he came in and he literally, exactly what he's doing in the Prem, he was doing at League 2. And you got to know, in League 2, you know, they'd be kicking you up in the air.
Of course.
The pitches. Yeah, but if he was just gliding, they were trying to kick him, he was smiling, and he just came in and he lit up the place with his personalities and his ability. And I do want to go on record and say, his first 5 goals, I assisted 3 of them, so I don't know if he would have been. I don't want to listen.
What are you saying?
I don't want to say that.
No,
don't even let me. I don't even know why I did. I don't even know why. It's because of me. But like, I'll tell you this. I've said this story. He was ripping it up at home, like, and we was in League 2, and we was playing Cambridge away. So he hadn't scored any goals by this time, but I think he assisted. So he was playing Cambridge away. And Gareth Ainsworth used to call me in the morning and say, look, this is what I'm looking to do for the weekend. So he said, look, I'm looking to maybe go with Eze. So I was like, oh, Gaffer, but they're a big team. It's physical. Should we just go solid for a little while, bring him on at the end? So he goes, all right, cool, big man, let me go and think about it. From that game, he scored 2 goals, 2 worldies, top bins. I think left foot, right foot, top bins. We won the game 2-1. And I remember saying to the Gaffer, I will never question your decision again. He just came. They were trying to kick him. Like I said, they were trying to kick him. He was something special. And when you play with a player, that's when you know. Like, sometimes you just see him on match day, but when you train with him every day, you just know. He was 18 and he's gone on. And I really think his ceiling is how high he wants to go, honestly.
So has he got to leave Palace for that ceiling to be released?
Listen, for me, I love the fact that...
You want to sell him, don't you? You want to sell Piero?
Nah, man. Like,
why are you doing that to Palace?
No, don't. This is what I was about to... Don't try it, because the Palace man, I just chat to Christian out here. We just had a moment. So that would have said, we don't try to sell our best player. You know, I love the fact that he is that guy at Palace. Yeah. And it all revolves around... I like that. But I do think but like anything, you do want to test yourself, and you know, he wants to play in the Champions League. He plays for England. You know, he wants to test himself, and I do think...
So he's got to leave Palace. Basically, you want to sell him?
I don't want him to sell. I want to stay there one more season, but I think Palace...
Man, honestly,
I think Palace are going to find it very hard to keep hold of Eze. That's what I... But
if the right bid comes in, you're saying...
I think, yeah.
Palace
I think
itself.
Palace will know that as well, though. If the right bid, they'll invest it back into their club. And so Palace, don't come for me because I'm a South London
No, he's
boy.
trying to sell him.
I'm a South London boy, so don't come for me. I'm with you. You get me?
You tell you're his agent, are you?
Well, to be
Yes,
fair, I've got a little 7% in there. No, okay, I should have. When he came in, I should have been like, oh, I know he's going to the top.
And he's there's a chance, very good chance, he's going to be involved with the England squad if we get to the World Cup next summer. A serious question now. Does he have to move to make that move and that step up so that he can be challenged at the very high? I know Palace got European football next season, I get that. But is there a thought process? Well, look, we've seen what Elise's done.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
He's got to Bayern Munich. He's won Bundesliga.
Listen, I think when you want your players to play in the top competitions, especially England, if you're being selfish for the England national team, you want your players to be in the elite competitions. So does he need to leave Palace? I think he does need to leave Palace. It's just the question of timing. When? Can he be there with this season in Europe? Or does he leave now when his currency is where it is at the moment and they will get the maximum investment back for him? So if he leaves now, would it be a win-win? Who knows? But Palace is good at reinventing. You know, Elise went and then they won the FA Cup. Yeah. Saha went and then they built. So Palace are good at that. You know, they're a well-run team. But I do think, and we can beat it around the bush in the sense where he does need to play Champions League if he wants to go and be with the very elites.
And I confirm we're trying to sell.
You're a bad man.
Ed Bridges. He thinks he should go. No, your words, not mine.
You're a bad man. You're a bad man.
He should leave Crystal Palace if he wants to go.
My South London reps, you know I'm repping for you. Come on.
I'm messing.
So that's it. Those are the 5 signings I want Tottenham to make this summer. Who do you want us to sign? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. And until next time, I hope you've enjoyed. Leave your like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And until next time, up the Spurs. Ciao.